Known as the Mr. Gold of the Bering Sea, Shawn rose to fame for his bold personality, relentless drive, and daring approach to gold mining in the brutal waters of Nome, Alaska. For years, fans watched him take enormous risks, clash with competitors, and push himself to the brink, all in the pursuit of fortune. But behind the fame and excitement of the Discovery Channel show lies a far darker, more complicated story, one filled with dangerous gambles, bitter rivalries, financial struggles, and personal battles that many never saw coming. Today, at the center of headlines once again, Shawn Pomrenke's story is not just about striking gold, it's about the devastating costs of chasing it. And as we take a closer look, you'll see why the warnings about Shawn were always there, hiding in plain sight. Shawn Pomrenke's journey began long before Bering Sea Gold brought his name into living rooms around the world. Born and raised in Nome, Alaska, he grew up watching his father, Steve Pomrenke, dig for gold in some of the most dangerous conditions on Earth. Shawn inherited both the passion and the stubbornness required to survive in this unforgiving environment. By the time the Discovery cameras arrived, Shawn had already carved out a reputation as a skilled but hot-headed miner who wasn't afraid to bend rules or clash with competitors to get ahead. Nicknamed Mr. Gold, he was seen as the face of the show and the embodiment of risk-taking. Fans admired his determination, but those close to him whispered that his drive often crossed into obsession, and that obsession could one day come back to haunt him in ways he could never have imagined. When Discovery Channel launched Bering Sea Gold in 2012, Shawn instantly stood out. His intense energy, sharp tongue, and relentless pursuit of gold made him both a star and a villain depending on who was watching. The show turned into a global hit, and Shawn became its central figure, often leading the most daring, and sometimes reckless, operations. But with fame came pressure. Every season demanded higher stakes, bigger hauls, and more drama, and Shawn felt the weight of maintaining his image as the show's centerpiece. Rivals such as Emily Riedel, Vernon Adkisson, and others added to the tension, and fans began to notice that Shawn's temper often overshadowed his successes. Viewers were entertained, but many wondered how much longer he could keep burning at both ends without losing everything he had fought so hard to build. Shawn's relationship with his father, Steve Pomrenke, was one of the most compelling storylines on Bering Sea Gold. Steve was disciplined, methodical, and respected in Nome, while Shawn was impulsive, aggressive, and often careless. Their clashes highlighted not just the generational gap but also the burden of legacy. Steve built a reputation as one of Alaska's greatest miners, and Shawn often felt he had to prove himself worthy of carrying the Pomrenke name. Fans could see the pressure simmering, as Shawn struggled to balance respect for his father with his own ambition. Over the years, Steve slowly stepped back from the spotlight, leaving Shawn to carry the mantle. But those same fans who once cheered his rise began warning that without his father's guidance, Shawn's reckless decisions could eventually lead to disaster, both in business and in life. As Shawn's fame grew, so did the headlines, and not always for the right reasons. In 2012, he was involved in a highly publicized bar fight in Nome, which left him facing charges and a damaged reputation. Later reports of arrests for driving under the influence and other legal issues added fuel to the fire. Each time, fans were split. Some defended him as a hard-living miner unfairly judged by outsiders, while others warned that these incidents were signs of deeper problems. Discovery producers often leaned into the drama, using his volatility to drive ratings, but the reality was far more serious. Shawn's personal troubles were spilling into public view, and many began to fear that his self-destructive tendencies could one day overshadow his accomplishments on the sea. The warnings were clear. Shawn's greatest threat was not the icy waters of Nome, it was himself. Despite being the star of a hit show and dubbed Mr. Gold, Shawn Pomrenke's financial life has been riddled with problems. Multiple reports over the years revealed tax troubles, unpaid debts, and strained business deals. For someone who mined millions in gold, fans were shocked to discover how precarious his finances seemed behind the scenes. Lawsuits over failed ventures and rumors of poor money management plagued his reputation. Even as cameras showed him pulling in massive hauls, reality suggested that the riches weren't lasting. Those closest to the industry warn that mining profits are fleeting and dangerous to rely on, especially when combined with Shawn's risky behavior. Fans began to see a tragic irony. Despite being Mr. Gold, Shawn seemed to constantly struggle to hold on to the very fortune he was chasing. No one can deny that Shawn Pomrenke brought drama to Bering Sea Gold, but with that drama came enemies. His heated feuds with Emily Riedel, Vernon Adkisson, and others became staples of the show. Shawn thrived on competition, but his aggressive tactics often crossed into hostility, leaving many questioning whether his confrontations were staged for television or reflections of his true character. These rivalries, while entertaining, painted Shawn as volatile and unpredictable, earning him as many haters as admirers. In Nome, some miners respected his skill but distrusted his methods, and rumors spread that Shawn's temper and questionable business ethics were damaging his reputation within the tight-knit community. Fans were entertained, but many warned that constantly battling everyone around him was not a path to longevity, but rather to isolation and downfall. Shawn's larger-than-life persona on television also spilled into his personal life, where his struggles became increasingly visible. His relationships were marked by strain, and raising a family while balancing fame, fortune, and controversy only added to the challenges. Interviews and reports over the years hinted at fractured ties and emotional exhaustion. Shawn himself admitted that being in the public eye made it difficult to keep his private world stable. Fans who once cheered his antics began voicing concern, noting that behind his bravado, Shawn often looked tired, worn, and weighed down. The toll of fame, combined with the physical danger of mining and the mental stress of constant pressure, was clearly leaving scars. Those who had followed his journey since the beginning warned that if he didn't find balance soon, the consequences could be far worse than Miss Gold. Throughout the seasons of Bering Sea Gold, Shawn became infamous for pushing himself and his crew into dangerous situations. Whether it was operating in unsafe conditions, diving in storms, or taking risks with equipment, his appetite for danger often bordered on reckless. Producers showcased these moments as thrilling television, but those familiar with the industry knew the truth: Shawn was constantly flirting with disaster. Crew members reportedly grew frustrated with his leadership, and even fans began warning that one wrong move could end in tragedy. The near misses piled up, each one serving as a reminder of how fragile life on the Bering Sea truly is. Yet Shawn continued, seemingly addicted to the adrenaline, ignoring the mounting concerns that his luck could not last forever. The COVID-19 pandemic hit Nome and the mining industry hard, and Shawn Pomrenke was not immune. With restrictions, reduced crews, and mounting financial strain, the very foundation of his empire was shaken. For a man already juggling debts and personal battles, the pandemic years became an uphill fight for survival. Reports suggested that his operations suffered losses, and the stress of keeping things afloat only added to his burden. Fans noticed his demeanor shift during these seasons. He seemed more anxious, less confident, and increasingly desperate. The warnings about his instability grew louder, and by the end of the pandemic years, Shawn was a man clearly battered by forces both within and beyond his control. His resilience kept him standing, but the cracks in his armor were undeniable. As of 2025, Shawn Pomrenke remains one of the most talked about figures from Bering Sea Gold, but his future is uncertain. While still involved in mining, he faces ongoing financial challenges and an uphill battle to maintain his reputation. Rumors continue to swirl about his strained relationships in Nome, both personal and professional. Fans who once idolized him are now divided. Some still see him as the fearless Mr. Gold, while others view him as a cautionary tale of fame gone wrong. Discovery has not confirmed the long-term future of Bering Sea Gold, and speculation about Shawn's place in the franchise remains a hot topic. What is certain is that Shawn's life is a reflection of both triumph and tragedy, with the warnings of his downfall echoing louder than ever before. The greatest tragedy of Shawn Pomrenke's story may be the irony of his nickname. He was crowned Mr. Gold, yet gold has always seemed to slip through his fingers. The show highlighted his biggest wins, but off-camera, debts, lawsuits, and controversies painted a darker picture. Instead of wealth bringing him peace, it often left him chasing more, falling deeper into stress and instability. Fans warned from the beginning that Shawn's drive bordered on obsession, and as time went on, those warnings proved chillingly accurate. His story is not just about mining, it's about the dangerous pursuit of more, and how even great success can lead to devastating downfall if not balanced with wisdom and restraint. Looking at Shawn Pomrenke's life today, it's hard not to feel a mix of admiration and heartbreak. He is fearless, determined, and undeniably talented, but he is also haunted by his own flaws. The warnings about him were never just about dangerous dives or risky financial moves. They were about the destructive patterns that, left unchecked, could consume him entirely. Fans who have followed him for over a decade now wonder what the next chapter will hold. Will Shawn find redemption and stability, or will the weight of his past finally catch up with him? One thing is certain, the story of Mr. Gold is as much a cautionary tale as it is an adventure. They warned us about Shawn Pomrenke, and perhaps we should have listened more closely, because his tragedy may still be unfolding before our eyes.